Hey everybody, Scott from That Moto App here. Just want to give you a quick explanation of the different difficulty ratings that we're using and a bunch of other people are too. There's Mikey, my stunt double. So this is a D1. This is just a gravel road. Nice and smooth. A 0 is of course paved, but this is really easy, really smooth D1. And here is a good example of a D2. We got some bumps, little ruts, things that could basically throw off a novice rider. There's a bunch more D2. These rocks are solid, they're not moving around, they're not causing me a lot of grief. Maybe a little bit of a harder D2, but a D2 nonetheless. Okay, Mikey and I are headed into a classic D3. It's more difficult on this side, it's more representative of a D3. These rocks are loose, there's some big ones. It's a little tougher. We've introduced slope, we've introduced some obstacles that you don't want to hit. Difficulty 3. One of the great things about this difficulty rating system is it doesn't use words like beginner, intermediate, advanced. It has to do with a number, and then you look up the size of bike you're on, and then you're going to get those beginner, intermediate, advanced, expert sort of indications. Check it out in TMA Mobile. Okay, I'm coming up on a classic D3. We call it plumber's butt. It's loose and chunky down here. It's going to throw my bike around. Wicked side slope here, and then I'm into this crazy trench here. It can cause a bit of havoc if you're on a big bike. Okay, still difficulty 3, it's not that scary. I happen to have a new trail right here that's really handy. It's going to give us a nice D4. See how tight this is? A little bit tricky. If you're on a bigger adventure bike, that's going to be significantly more difficult. This would be maybe a low 4. Down, see, it's tight, loamy. Got some logs. Remember these buckets, once we get into the bigger numbers, the buckets have to be bigger to accommodate more terrain. But once you're a somewhat advanced rider, you can handle more stuff. Interestingly, it's not limited to single track or double track. You can have wickedly hard double tracks with no good lines. We came up with this classification system along the same time as others did. I don't really think we're taking credit for it, but we all kind of did it at the same time. And we need it as a communication tool for the adventure bike gathering. We'd have guys show up and they'd say, well, what should I ride? And we'd say, well, 1, what are you riding? 2, how comfortable are you on it? So if someone shows up on a 1250 GS, 600-pound bike, a D3 is kind of the max that that bike is built for. I know, I've got one. Something like this, a D3 is total beginner. Oh, novice, let's call it novice. So it's a communication tool. Let's see if we can find some more 4s. Okay, if I'm remembering correctly, we got a good hill coming up here, which I'm going to call a 5. I'm reasonably comfortable on 4s on my KTM 790 Adventure. 5s, not so much. Look at all this goodness. If you're not an adventure bike rider and you're looking at this, know that adventure bikes can do, some of them, with the right pilot, can do all the way up to a 6. I've got local examples of guys who can rock a D6. However, it's a hell of a lot harder than on a bike like this, and infinitely more tiring. And the pace is different too. It's almost a different sport altogether. Hats off to the 1% of the 1%. Okay, here's the big climb. It's not super steep yet. We're gonna have a straight up shot right here. And while okay on a bike like this, which is totally purpose built for it, that would be a bloody handful on an adventure bike. And if you got stopped, I don't think you could get started again. So you got to turn around, do it again. So that's a 5. So 4 going down, a 5 coming up. That makes this entire trail a 5 if you're going the way we are. Here comes Mikey. Yeah, mate. Nothing like going out dirt biking when it's 35 degrees. Stay hydrated. These very same difficulty ratings apply, of course, to downhill. So it's kind of a classic D3 downhill. It's going to get a little tougher than this. You don't want to completely lose track of your speed. I've done this on quite a variety of bikes, and they can all basically hold their speed as long as you don't get out of control. It's loose, I'm sliding, but not scary. There are no big baby heads that are going to send you sailing. Okay, we're definitely into some forest here. It's going to get a little spicier, but in my opinion it's still a 4. It's right here, coming up. This is bedrock, look at it, way straight up, but it's not rolling anywhere. Just one big jagged rock. That line there is a 5. I don't do that. This corner here is tough enough. Oh, and he stalls it. What a terrible place to stall it. That's a real handful on an adventure bike. That weighs 200 pounds more than this. I think that's it for difficulty stuff today, but I don't think we're going to hit any 5s. Definitely no 6s. It's super hot, probably the hottest day of the year so far for biking. The beauty of the system is once you know your number, you can communicate it with others. I know my number for each of the dirt bikes. 5. 690 is a 4. 790 is a 4. 1250 is a 3. Anyways, I hope you found this helpful, and everything can be found on the homepage of TMA Mobile, a complete guide. Look up your bike, see how it all works out. Thanks, bye.